Hello, everybody, and welcome to another NPCs Weekly News Roundup for the week of November 20th, 2020. In this week's episode, we are going to be talking about Project 007, a new 007 game coming our way here, hopefully soon. We've also got Nintendo throwing around the ban hammer with another cease and desist on another popular franchise. And of course, Capcom got the nice old giant hack hit their way, and some new games look like they're coming down the line for us. Again, it is November 20th, 2020, and of course, I am joined by Kyle. Kyle, hello. Man, I screwed that up. I hit the button to change over to the actual news intro part here, and the problem that I did is that I've got it labeled in OBS as news intro, which is for me to flip over and to actually have the little slideshow off to the side of the flipping between some of the thumbnails. And then I've got NPCs intro, which is the one with that Preston animated and has the song with it and that. I played that first. It's labeling sucks. I can't be doing this labeling crap anymore now. I need to hire someone else to do this instead. I need a producer. So anybody who wants to be a producer for us to handle this, of course, and you're willing to figure out a way to do this remotely without being, around us or anything like that to do this, by all means, throw your application our way. And to be perfectly honest, I don't know how to hire a producer, so I probably will just hire you on the spot. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anyway, so we got ourselves a couple stories here to go through for sure. Definitely some interesting ones, some meh ones, I guess. It depends on how you are. It was actually kind of a light week in the world of news. Couple really big things, but mostly meh. So let's just hop right into it here with the first story of the night. And this one actually comes to us from Polygon. Cyberpunk 2077 system requirements revealed. For the full ray tracing experience, you'll need the best GPU you can find. Cyberpunk 2077 is only a few weeks away, and we finally know exactly what kind of hardware you'll need to run the PC version any way you want. On Friday, CD Projekt Red announced the game's PC system requirements and gave players plenty of detail on what kind of hardware they will need to run the game on various settings, including with ray tracing enabled. We already knew that Cyberpunk 2077's minimum and recommended settings, which are both pretty reasonable. Even the high settings that CD Projekt Red had listed aren't too bad. With just a RTX 2060 or a Radeon RX 5700 XT, you'll be able to run the game on ultra settings at 1440p. If you want to make the jump to 4K, you'll need to bump your GPU all the way up to an NVIDIA RTX 2080S. I don't know if 2080 Super, that's it. An RTX 3070 or a Radeon RX 6800 XT. So I've got the specs blown up here, Kyle, to take a look at this a little bit closer. And I think the last series of specs that we looked at, you and I, were for Black Ops, right?
I think so, yeah.
This actually seems a little bit more manageable in the grand scheme of game specs, at least compared to what we were seeing, like for like an install base was an example. Compared to Black Ops Cold War, because the ultra settings, the high and ultra settings is about where I'm sitting at right now in my build for my computer, but everything else in here looks like manageable. A 70 gig install, they say on SSD. You're talking, like, for me, the RX 5700 XT, 12 gigs of RAM. My Ryzen 7 processor is definitely a little bit better than that one, but these actually seem like pretty reasonable settings, unless you want the ray tracing.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if part of that, though, is because they were trying to bridge the gap between all the different generations of the consoles. They were able to span even further for PC.
Yeah, I wonder, especially so.
Because you think about it, they had to get the game to run on the original VCR model of the Xbox One.
Yeah, which if you
Granted, it's rumored to still have issues, or still they're still solving issues up until launch on that version. But and like I said, that is rumored, but the fact that they had to get it to run on such an old console, I mean, yeah, I think the requirements should be kind of, varied. I can imagine some of the minimum requirements you're gonna see like completely shit draw distance. You're not gonna get like, any of the good reflective surfaces and stuff. But I mean, it's still playable. That's the thing. They're
Exactly.
still making it playable to how many different generations of PC.
Yeah, especially because they're talking about as far back as an i5 3570K for minimum specs, for an Intel processor, an AMD FX 8310. I mean, you're talking processors that have been out of production for quite a few years now,
Mm-hmm.
and even on the GPU side, a GTX 780 or a Radeon RX 470. I mean, you're talking about between 5 and 8 years worth of time that has passed at least since that stuff has come out. But looking at the specs
Which,
there, especially with that FX 8310, that's a little more closer to the specs of what the Xbox One, the original Xbox One, are based on.
but I wonder if part of that is catering to the audience that they initially announced to.
Mm-hmm. That's
You
very
know,
possible. That's very possible too. That's something I think that it could be that it's like we've taken so much time to get this game put out. We're going to make sure that we still support what was considered like mid tier by that point in time. But
right?
it looks more like they're trying to say it's like, well, if you got a PC, these are the minimum specs, but these minimum specs equal what you're going to see in like the Xbox One. So
Right.
and I don't think that's bad. I mean, you're absolutely right. It's going to look like garbage. It's not going to run the best. You're probably going to, maybe even with those, you're talking 30 frames per second max at
Right.
1080p. I mean, that's
But
even at
it's
low
gonna
graphics
run.
setting. But yeah, it's going to run. You're not necessarily alienating anybody. You're offering
Hmm.
you're offering at least some value there. But the rest of these, though, at least look manageable. I mean, until you get to say like, ray tracing ultra at 4K, where you need an RTX 3080, 10 gigs of VRAM, 70. You still need your 70 gigs of solid state drive storage. But then you're talking like processor wise, you're talking an i7 6700 or a
Is
Ryzen
that
5
really off the
3600.
scale though?
What do you
You
mean?
think about it? Is that really off the scale? I mean, the I think the ray tracing minimum high range is right around where technically right around where your new consoles would lie, right?
Probably, yeah.
So your ray tracing ultra, I mean, that's catering to the audience that just got uh
Well,
the new AMD card, that just got the new Nvidia graphics card,
yeah, whoever could get
you
their
know.
hands on it.
I mean, it's not really that far off.
Mm-mm. No, it's
So,
it's really not. I mean, I know they say they should have included a little bit more here because you look at the specs. They say for ray tracing minimum, it's an RTX 2060, and then they jump to a 3070 and a 3080, completely bypassing the 2080, the 2080 Ti, the 2070, the 2070 Super. They bypass all of those and don't even
mhm,
mention those in here. But I would think if you're running, a 2080 Ti, you should be able to hit that ray tracing high, no problem, as long as your processor can back it. And having that Ryzen
right.
5 3600, or even an older i7 6700, this is a non-K version, at least they list here, you're still going to be okay to be able to play probably at ray tracing high no matter what with that version. But again,
Right.
looking at these specs though compared to what we saw for Black Ops Cold War, these are some very manageable specs. And I think the cool part though is that 70 gigs of storage space overall, even with ray tracing, is a pretty good amount. I mean, that's not bad.
That, and you also have to think about when we talk about ray tracing, that's something that's only been around for what, 1 or 2 years, like 2 years, 3 years max.
So ray tracing has been, I was actually reading on this because I got curious myself. Ray tracing's been around since the 70s, but it's been specifically used more for rendering than anything else, but not necessarily
Right.
rendering like in real time. Whereas ray tracing in the
And
gaming scene,
not
yes, it's
used
only
in
been the last
video
couple of
games.
years. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's been a normal thing. But yeah, in video games with real time ray tracing, it hasn't been there since the last couple of years. Which I'm not shocked that they didn't actually list really anything else on the ray tracing front for AMD's side. The reviews on the ray tracing front for them were pretty meh with the 6800 XT. So the 6800 XT, of course, is listed in the ultra non-ray tracing side. But yeah, the ray tracing part for them is just not there yet. So I guess that's pretty
But then
understandable.
again, AMD, this is kind of their first go around
True.
at ray tracing, whereas Nvidia's been doing it for quite a while now. You know,
Yeah.
they've been doing it since the beginning.
In
When I say
reality,
quite a while,
right. And in
or since the
reality,
beginning of gaming.
yeah, I would say in reality, this is basically their third generation of it of sorts, because the RTX 20 series was the first go, and then they released the super line of the 2070 Super and the 2080 Super, and then now they've got the 30 series RTX graphics cards. So this is their technically third go around of ray tracing. So it makes sense that they would definitely be at the forefront of it. It makes sense that that's what CD Projekt Red will put in their recommended settings. I'm curious to see how the benchmarks actually look using more stuff across the board, especially if with a 6800 XT or even the 6900 XT when that drops next month. So, yeah, but again, compared to these specs, especially for the storage side of things, I really like the footprint that it has there, and it doesn't really feel like this game is alienating anybody. It feels like there's a nice spread of support on this one. So, very good job to CD Projekt Red to do it. So, it looks like I hate to say it, it looks like that crunch might have been worth it. Yeah.
I think so.
So moving on into our second story, which is also from Polygon and is also Cyberpunk related. Kyle, let's talk about this one a little bit here. Cyberpunk 2077 has a streamer mode that disables copyright music. And of course, we have been talking about DMCA stuff the last couple of weeks. So let's hop into the story a bit here. Kyle, talk to us about this one.
Alrighty, so just as live streaming platforms like Twitch mass delete video content in response to an influx of DMCA takedowns or takedown requests, Cyberpunk 2077 developer CD Projekt Red is giving its players a solution to deal with the problem of streaming copyrighted music in video games. The developer will give players the option of disabling certain songs in Cyberpunk 2077 in an attempt to avoid copyright strike while live streaming or making videos that feature audio from the game. We know that for content creators, licensed music can sometimes be problematic. Holly Bennett, UK head of communications, said in CD Projekt's latest Night City Wire video presentation. So with this new mode, you'll be able to disable a small number of selected tracks, which could cause some issues, replacing them with a different song, helping to avoid any problems. Bennett said Cyberpunk 2077 will automatically disable those music tracks when players stream from the console version, but the players will be able to toggle the feature on and off. PC players will be able to turn on and off the game, turn it on and off in the game options, Bennett explained. Cyberpunk 2077 will feature some 150 genre-bending tracks according to CD Projekt Red's video, including songs from artists Run the Jewels, Nina Kravitz, Grimes, Gazelle Twins, and Rat Boy. CD Projekt Red's plans to release Cyberpunk 2077 for PlayStation 4, Stadia, Windows, PC, and Xbox One on December 10th. The console version will be supported on PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X through backwards compatibility with optimized versions for PS5 and Xbox Series X due in 2021.
So that's in the grand scheme of kind of like what has happened now with the DMCA stuff. This is a good thing. I mean,
yeah.
Like, I wonder what it took for them to actually incorporate something like this. As
I
quick as
imagine
they
it
did.
wouldn't be that hard.
I mean, I guess it's just a track tag or something that they say if they go in the settings and say, streamer mode, then it goes and just automatically kills those songs from the queue. But that's, I mean,
Yeah.
what great timing. Like it's tough to say, or it's fantastic
Yeah.
timing. It's just pure luck.
And what a way to put a game out there even further for players to see. Because the more people that they have streaming the game and showing the game off, the more people will want to buy it.
Hmm.
Especially like when you said in a time when people want to find out more about games, in a time that people are watching other people play games. I think that's a good way to sell copies of the game too.
Absolutely. And I don't know what's going on here, Kyle. I'm getting some weird audio popping from your side, so I don't know if it's I don't know if we got a connection issue going on with Discord right now or something. Let me flip over here to the solo camera really quick. I don't need to expose any of your stuff here really quick while I just check to see if there's anything I can change. Let's see. You look good there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Tell you what, let me do this really quick. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect from you on video or on the call here really quick and call you right back and bring the video back. So hang on just a second. Isn't it fun, folks, with the technical difficulties in that? Let's see here. Try this again. Okay, let's try that now. How about that, Kyle?
Yeah, it sounds good on my end. Are you still getting any bad audio on your end?
Yeah, still getting the popping. We'll, I guess let's work with what we can. And I guess we'll just see how things go from here. I think it's probably something connection-wise on my side, but very weird. But that's okay. We will. We'll work around it. This is an issue I run into a lot actually when we're doing the podcast stuff. I mean, it's easy to make out what you're saying, but it's I don't know how else to describe it other than popping. But anyway, so let's see here. We were on story 2. There we go. Okay, so. As we were talking about there, I wonder if instead of just there's an option to go in and check it, like Discord does it, some other services as well though too, they recognize that you're streaming. I wonder if maybe by default, if it notices that you're streaming, that it will just go in and turn off the audio tracks themselves too. Will it actually just go in and shut down, or push the tag that says, hey, don't play this, and get yourself out there. But I don't know. It's an interesting one to say, but I was just kind of getting your thought on that one though. But it's pretty neat.
It's pretty cool. I don't know. I'm really curious to see how they're gonna do it. If they say they have other tracks to pump in that wouldn't have it. If I was understanding that correct, right?
Yeah, it looks like it doesn't say anything necessarily. It just says it's to disable music in there.
So maybe not, but
yeah.
I mean, I would imagine it'd just be like turning off the in-game audio or the in-game music tracks, which you can do anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it's just more of a simplified version of doing it, or maybe, just a way that wouldn't necessarily hinder the streamer as far as like having to turn off all the in-game audio per se, because I know some of the other in-game audio may be tied to the music that wouldn't be necessarily something that would have to be it would be copyright claimed. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they make it happen, and I'll be curious to watch some streams on it actually.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if it could be like I remember one of the Madden games I played back in PlayStation 2 days had the ability where you could scroll through the music list and actually uncheck tracks you didn't want to listen to. So I'm guessing it's just going to be a simple enough just turn off.
Right. Yeah, probably something you just pop into your settings, like they said on the console version or PlayStation 5 version. that you just go into the settings, and it's as simple as inverting your look. You know, you just check a box or flip a switch, and it's done.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah.
So with all that audio fun talked about, yay again for CD Projekt Red and planning ahead on such, and again, just a lot of good timing on that. Let's move into our third story of the night, and this one actually caught me off guard when they announced it. This story comes to us from Engadget. The studio behind Hitman is making a James Bond game. IO Interactive says Project 007 will tell the secret agent's origin story. A day after it teased news on an upcoming project, Hitman developer IO Interactive revealed it's working on a James Bond game. Project 00, as it's known for now, will delve into the origins of the secret agent. In the game, which will have an original story, you will try to earn the elite 00 status as the UK's secret at the UK's Secret Intelligence Service. IOI is keeping quiet on the other details for now. There wasn't much to a teaser trailer other than the project reveal, the classic Bond gun barrel imagery, and that iconic theme music. There's no word yet on as yet on a release window, though IO said Project 00 is coming to modern systems and platforms. Whenever it does arrive, this will be the first official Bond game since 2012's 007 Legends. Earlier this year, a group of GoldenEye 007 fans were forced to stop working on a remake of the N64 classic. They're developing an original game instead. So yeah, this is awesome. I mean, like, I am excited for this. I did not actually expect there to be anything, you know, like I didn't actually expect there to be anything James Bond related. What I find funny though is like the fact that they it's the fact that, like, in the grand scheme of irony, I guess, is part of it, is, you know, the satellite dish that's in Puerto Rico, the really giant one that they used as part of GoldenEye.
Yeah.
That's getting shut down because of a lot of damage to it. Like, they're not gonna be able to use anything with it anymore. But it was just funny. I don't know why, because it was like there was that. You had Sean Connery passing away, a lot of James Bond stuff on the mind, and then it's like, oh, boom, here comes this. You know, that's pretty cool in itself. That's what we're actually going to be getting now is another James Bond game. I've been wanting a fresh James Bond game for a while.
Oh, heck yeah.
And I think what really got to me the most was that what was it? After they did the announcement, Twitter was going nuts with this stuff. Specifically, what they were talking about was like remembering other old James Bond games, like Nightfire. Like, if I was to see a James Bond video game turned into a movie, I'd love to see Nightfire, I think, turned into a movie itself. And let's see. Alex says here, is the origin in question going to be of the Daniel Craig era, or doesn't it say? No, it doesn't actually say, Alex, but honestly, we don't know. I mean, you're talking that it could be modeled after Sean Connery. I mean, we've had... You know, it could be Timothy Dalton for all we know. It could be Pierce Brosnan. You know, there's nothing that I'm aware of that's necessarily official that said kind of like what James Bond is, whether it's a persona that's just put in place by as a person progresses and actually makes their way to the 00 status, like it carries on. Is James Bond just one person? There's been no real mention of such anyways. It's just an assumption. But, you know, so it could be anything. It could even be someone that we don't even know, like someone we've never seen before. If it was modeled after Sean Connery, that would be kind of cool. I think that would be a pretty hot selling point, especially, you know, early Sean Connery. You're talking Dr. No level, but I don't know.
Well, Sean Connery did have the From Russia with Love game, didn't he?
Oh my God, you're right. Yeah. I forgot about that. But
it was actually pretty good.
Yeah, because he had that. Yeah, I think the majority of 00 games that have come out have been Pierce Brosnan, except for the remake of GoldenEye on the Wii that was Daniel Craig. That's it. Everything's been Pierce Brosnan. Maybe it'll be Pierce Brosnan, Alex. We'll keep an eye out on that.
Was it technically Pierce Brosnan, though? Or was it just a generic James Bond character?
In what, the original GoldenEye?
Well, I mean,
or Nightfire,
I think the only one that they really had licensed for Pierce Brosnan was the GoldenEye, wasn't it?
No, because 007 Nightfire, he was on the cover.
Oh.
Yeah, like I'm almost positive. Yeah, he's right there.
Oh,
It looks like they used
oh yeah.
maybe a stock image or something of him from, say, like the um like Tomorrow Never Dies or World Is Not Enough. Because when did Nightfire drop? It was a PlayStation 2, GameCube, and Xbox game. So 2002. Let's see. While the game involves the use of Pierce Brosnan's likeness with his role as Bond, before his fourth and final Bond film, Die Another Day, the character is voiced by Maxwell Caulfield.
Hmm.
So yeah, so basically it's Pierce Brosnan's likeness, but it's voiced by someone different. So this came out after The World Is Not Enough. Then, okay.
Hmm.
So okay, but that's cool though. I'm very excited for another James Bond game. I think we've been lacking one for sure. Everything or Nothing had Brosnan too. We had that one. We had another. There was a
Wasn't
007
there
racing
a
game too.
Daniel Craig one that like really sucked?
There was the GoldenEye one where he was put in the position of Bond for that remake. Daniel Craig. Let's see. James Bond video games.
Oh man.
I'm just looking at all of them. Let's see. James Bond in video games. Wow, stuff all the way back to 1983. Uh,
Was it Everything or Nothing?
yeah, I'm looking here just to see.
Yeah.
I just want the list. I don't. Okay,
I
let's
know
see.
there was a Daniel Craig one that was really bad, I want to say though.
That's what I'm just trying to see here. There was,
No, yeah, I think Everything or Nothing
yeah,
was.
Everything or Nothing was Pierce
Yeah.
Brosnan. Agent Under Fire was, I guess you could say it was Pierce Brosnan based on that one. You had From Russia with Love, which was the Sean Connery one you were talking about. There was a Quantum of
Yeah.
Solace video game. There was the GoldenEye remake. There was Bloodstone, which was a third person, and then there was 007 Legends.
Maybe it was Bloodstone. I don't remember. I could have swore there was one that really sucked though. Oh well.
Yeah, it actually this one
It's good
actually
there's the
had
new one coming out though.
yeah, this one actually had voices of Daniel Craig, Judi Dench, and Joss Stone in it for some reason. So, reception mixed to positive reviews on that one. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that could be the one. But regardless, though, it again, I'm just excited that that's what we got. I'm excited we got another one coming down the line, and I want it. I need
Yeah.
it. I need it now, Kyle. Now, go get it for me.
Now.
Just go. Come on. We're not in a pandemic. Everything's fine. Hop on the plane. Get over there to the studios. Go pick it up, please.
Oh, I thought after you were saying now, you were gonna tell me to get in a chopper or something.
Go get it now. Go get to the chopper. Let's go pick it up.
Yeah.
Go. Get out. Wait, no. Arnold Schwarzenegger is James Bond. There's another one for you. Anyway,
Yeah,
let's
that'd be
move
pretty
on.
amazing.
Let's move on here to our next story. And this story here actually is kind of upset some people. I'm very curious to see kind of what you think on this one, though, too, Kyle, when we get to the discussion part of this. But this one comes to us from IGN. And GTA Online's next heist adds a new island to the world and can be played solo. So talk to us about this new addition to GTA Online.
Okay, so GTA Online will add the KO Perico heist on December 15th. Described as GTA Online's biggest heist ever, KO Perico adds an entire new island to the game and can be played as a solo experience. Announced with a teaser trailer below, the KO Perico heist takes players with infiltrating one of the most secure private islands in the entire world. You'll evade or fight security and escape with valuable evidence along with as much art, gold, and drug money as you can carry. Playable either along with friends, KO Perico will let you choose your approach to the heist and the tools used, and will also feature new vehicles, weapons, social spaces, and in-game DJs and radio stations with over 100 new songs. Oh, reads the press release, and a very large, very versatile, and very heavily armed submarine HQ with plenty of other surprises. The update was teased yesterday, showing off the El Rubio dossier and mentioned a John Doe. We're still yet to learn much more about those, but Rockstar promises much more information is on the way.
So the biggest concern or biggest frustration that people have been talking about online since the announcement came out here, because there was that tease, is that they just won't let Grand Theft Auto 5 die. A lot of people were really kind of hoping that we were going to start hearing more about possibly the next level of progression in the actual Grand Theft Auto series itself, like the talk about 6.
Keep playing it. That's the problem.
That's exactly it.
Keep playing it.
Yeah, it's like if you want them to make you like a new game, you need to stop playing it. But obviously, Rockstar's found their cash cow in GTA Online. I mean, at least they're taking a new approach to it, though, by not just adding in another heist in the exact same area that you're already used to, in Los Santos. But you're at least able to branch out. Now, the question, though, is can you just can you go just grab a plane from the airport and just fly over to this island? Or does it require a in-game, you go hop on the submarine and a cutscene takes you there and then you're there, like it unloads the assets from the Los Santos area and then puts you there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I'm curious just because
you probably have to you probably have to pay to get on or take a trip out there and until you can afford to buy the submarine. So you're still pumping money into the GTA cash fund, continuing the cycle ever further.
Unless
they say it's free, but it's freemium.
Unless one of the missions itself is to actually go get the submarine in the first place, and then here you go. Now you have your nice giant base. But it looks like it's going to be a lot of content. I mean, you're not talking just a minimal update here, but a lot of content. And I've been so out of touch with GTA Online. Like I started one of the heists. I think I started the Diamond Casino heist. I never finished it because I played with a bunch of randoms and they all were terrible. So I don't know what to really think. Are you going to try it though? Do you think you're going to give it a shot, or if you've been avoiding online?
Not.
Okay.
I barely played Grand Theft Auto 5.
Okay.
I started the main campaign. I've never played online.
Okay.
I don't know. It just, I don't know. I guess never really appealed to me, and I never gave it a shot. And I play a lot of other online games, so I'm not super concerned about trying it.
Okay. I will probably peek into it and see what the update is like itself. I know a couple other people who do play online, so I'll have to see if I can hop on with them and check it out. But of course, I'm going to be very under-leveled and very underpowered, probably compared to them. But we will have to see how that goes.
And if they're good players, they could carry you anyway. So
yeah, that's also very true. I can just cower, or if I can just find a tank somewhere and just drive around in the tank and just blow stuff up, that's fine with me too. But anyway, let's carry on here to the next story on our list. And this one's kind of a frustrating one, especially. So this one here, oh, come on, OBS, get up here to where I need you to be at. This one comes to us from Nintendo Life. Smash competition, the Big House canceled after cease and desist from Nintendo. This is frustrating, especially with older games than that too. The competitive Smash Brothers community has taken the action online this year, but one event hasn't been so lucky. The Big House, the longest running major Smash tournament in the United States, has received a cease and desist order from Nintendo of America. The issue Nintendo has with this year's event is the fact it requires illegally copied versions of Super Smash Bros. Melee and would also make use of Slippy Online, rollback netcode, allowing players to duke it out online. In a statement to Polygon, Nintendo said the tournament organizers refused to cooperate, so it was left with no choice but to step to protect its intellectual property and brands. Noticeably, the company said it will continue to support the Smash Bros. Competitive scene in the future. Nintendo appreciates the love and dedication the fighting game community has for the Super Smash Bros. Series. We have partnered with numerous Super Smash Bros. Tournaments in the past and have hosted our own online and offline tournaments for the game, and we plan to continue that support in the future. Unfortunately, the upcoming Big House tournament announced plans to host an online tournament for Super Smash Bros. Melee that requires use of illegally copied versions of the game in conjunction with a mod called Slippy during their online event. Nintendo therefore contacted the tournament organizers and asked them to stop. They refused, leaving Nintendo no choice but to step in and protect their intellectual property and brands. Nintendo cannot condone or allow piracy of its intellectual property. In its own response via Twitter, the Big House said it was heartbroken and had to cancel its upcoming online event and had no choice but to comply with Nintendo. It said it will send out more details and refunds soon. The Big House is heartbroken to share we've received a cease and desist from Nintendo of America to cancel our upcoming online event. We're informed we do not have permission to host or broadcast the event, primarily due to the usage of Slippy. Sadly, all our competitions are affected. We were forced to comply with the order and cancel the Big House Online for both Melee and Ultimate. Refund information will be sent shortly. We apologize to all of those impacted. So Nintendo, of course, decided to go ahead and throw their giant ban hammer at things again, and I'm disappointed.
To be fair, they could have just not hosted a Melee tournament, and they would have been fine.
So you think the problem was Melee, not necessarily the tournament itself?
Absolutely. The fact that they were using those illegal copies of Melee, that's what got them in hot water.
Well, so it sounds like if I was reading further, because I looked at a couple other places on the story as well, it sounds like what they were actually doing was not necessarily using illegal copies. It was more of falling in line with U.S. Protections that we have, that all of us have, is that as long as you actually own the physical media, you can have yourself a digital copy. And there's some sort of weird murky area that Nintendo's fighting on that part to basically say it's like that digital copy's technically still in violation when in reality it's not. So that's where most of it is that it's not necessarily illegal copies. It's just your standard digital copy that you'd make yourself.
Well, that's where the area gets murky, is because 99% of digital copies have to be obtained illegally. It's not like you or whoever has the software to just rip GameCube discs. One of the reasons that they're so hard to read is because they're written backwards. So
yeah, that's also true too. So that, I guess that's definitely the area too. Even if you own a physical copy of Melee, I guess. The other part though is the netcode part of it as well, which the rollback side of that one, I guess, was to prevent or to get past a update that had come out for Melee that had caused some issues with online play. And so I guess it had been, this actual rollback netcode has actually been in use for a while. This is not the first time it's been used. But I'm sure just a combination of things that Nintendo's like, okay, we can't overlook this anymore. We've got to come at them and just say, hey, can you do this? And you're gonna say no. It's like, all right, well, we got a team of lawyers that's much better equipped than you are right now.
Had to throw down the ban hammer eventually. They crossed one too many lines.
Yeah, they really did. And sucks that I get Nintendo has to protect their property. Any company has to. I just wish that in the grand scheme of what this pandemic has been, that they could have offered some sort of leniency in this. But I guess, I get it. I understand what they're asking. So
yeah, and like I said, they still could have hosted the ultimate competition. They would have been fine. It was the fact that they opted to go ahead and continue the competition. I think this was the ultimate dash against their record again. Essentially, was that they went ahead and were like, we're gonna offer the competition for Melee, but you're gonna use these copies that they were not necessarily yours when you created them, and you weren't the original creator of the copy, but you may own the game, so it's okay to go ahead and play this version in the competition.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. Oh, well. We carry on then, I suppose. I mean, I don't play Smash competitively. I do it just playing locally from time to time anyway. But I really like watching the stuff online because there's people much better at it than I ever will be. So, guess we'll
Some of
just have
those
to.
matches get insane.
God, they do. They really do. And that's what I was
I
kind of
mean,
hoping. But
for a game that has 2 attack buttons,
because you need to be able to attack twice, so obviously you transition between the two buttons, Kyle.
yeah, I
God,
guess.
figure it
I
out.
don't know.
Jesus. Well, speaking of transitioning, let's transition to our next story. Kyle, this is probably by far our biggest story of the week right now. And this is pretty damaging itself, actually, for Capcom here. So let's talk about
Very
this
much
one
so.
from IGN. Massive Capcom leaks reveal Dragon's Dogma 2, Street Fighter 6, and potentially more. IGN has independently verified some of the games are in development. So, Kyle, what the hell happened at Capcom?
The fallout from a massive data breach at Capcom continues as more games in development leak online. A purported screenshot from the leaks show a Capcom development schedule for the next 4 years, and IGN believes at least portions of the list to be legitimate, including listings for Dragon's Dogma 2 and Street Fighter 6. Earlier this week, Capcom confirmed it was the victim of a customized ransomware attack that led to unauthorized access to its network. Capcom says corporate, employee, and customer information may have been compromised by the attack. Subsequently, materials from those leaks have been released onto the internet. While unable to verify them all, sources close to Capcom have told IGN that many are genuine. As more information from the leaked data packages continue to trickle out, Capcom's alleged game development plans for the next 4 years appear to have made their way online. The schedule includes a mix of sequels and remakes, while others are only listed under their code names. Here is the list of the biggest names listed in purported schedule. Resident Evil Outbreak Q4, first year or
Fiscal year.
fiscal year, sorry, of 21. Dragon's Dogma 2 Q2 fiscal year 22. Street Fighter 6 Q3 fiscal year 22. Rockman, or as we know it in the States, Mega Man, match Q3 of 22. Resident Evil 4 remake Q4 of 22. Monster Hunter 6 Q2 of 2023. Biohazard Apocalypse Q3 of 2023. Street Fighter 6 of Q4 2023. Final Fight Remake Q2 of 2024. And then here we go, Power Stone Remake Q3 of 2024. Ultra Street Fighter 6 of Q4 2024. And Resident Evil Hank, or likely Hunk, Q4 of the fiscal year of 2024. Sources confirmed to IGN that some of the games included in the list are legitimate, including Dragon's Dogma and Street Fighter 6, but could potentially be out of date. Many other games revealed in the leak are listed under code names. Capcom detected the ransomware attack in the early morning hours of November 2nd of this year. The attack destroyed and encrypted data on Capcom servers, and criminal organization Ragnar Locker messaged the company demanding a money ransom for the compromised information. Capcom says they will continue coordinating with law enforcement in Japan and the United States, and is still gauging the overall damage caused by the attack. Capcom also reassured customers that its online services, website, and games are safe to access. However, former Capcom employees have expressed frustration with the company. to IGN about how it handled the fallout to their personal lives and information. Data breaches targeting major video game companies have been become more frequent in recent years. A massive data breach on Nintendo dubbed GigaLeak spilled troves of internal data online, but the information revealed in GigaLeak mostly pertained to the older projects, whereas the Capcom leaks are more forward-looking.
So what you're talking about here on this list then is, I mean, you're talking 3 different Street Fighter games, because I think SSF 6 is probably Super Street Fighter 6. The Biohazard Apocalypse, obviously Biohazard is just the other name for Resident Evil. So whether that's a new arcade game or was there a Resident Evil Apocalypse game? I know there's a movie Resident Evil Apocalypse, but there wasn't anything that had a subtitle.
No, not to my knowledge.
Okay.
But
the fact that we've got 4 years of leaked data here, though. I mean, to show these different games.
And it's not uncommon for them to do the Street Fighter thing, once every year after they launch it. I mean, they did that with 3. They did that with 4. They still release versions of 2. So.
Oh, of course they do. Of course. But it's interesting, though, that, there's a lot of these things that we'd expect. I guess, obviously, of course, we really already had in our heads that we had a Resident Evil 4 remake coming down the line at some point in the next year or so, but it looks like this is a couple more years out. Street Fighter seems to be kind of a given. But a couple of these other ones are definitely very interesting, like this Mega Man match.
This was a little bit more in-depth to the compared to the first list that I saw. It didn't really say like quarter and year. It was just more of like a general, it's going to be this year probably.
Yeah, it's
so I don't know if this is more of a leak, but I don't know. I hope Capcom's able to get it under control. I hate for them to be hurt too badly by something like this.
Yeah, so it looks like their fiscal year is from April 1st to March 31st of the following year. So that means then that if this is in fiscal year... I just want to bring up the list here again really quick. Where is it? Let's see. So if Resident Evil Outbreak is in quarter 4 of fiscal year 21, that means that that might be this early next year then, if I'm reading that right. Maybe I have to kind of look and see. Like, I assume that the fiscal year is maybe more specific to the actual bulk of the year itself that it takes place. So then that means that this is the beginning of 2021.
Late next year. I think that would be because it's quarter 4 of fiscal year 21.
That makes sense.
So it would be end of next year, beginning of the following year.
That makes more sense then. Okay, I understand that now for sure. Okay, so
and it's pretty common for companies to have their fiscal year to end right around the April-March period. So
yeah, agreed. Okay. Well, damn. I mean, it's, as gamers, it's really neat to see exactly what's coming down the line. But I know, of course, for Capcom, this is a strategic PR, like a strategic nightmare, a PR nightmare, a confidentiality matter. I mean, you're talking about so much chaos here for them, and that level of schedule that's being leaked right there. I mean, hopefully that schedule actually does a little bit more good than it does necessarily harm, and actually kind of hypes people up for what Capcom could be dropping here soon.
I don't know. I feel like it's generated quite a bit of hype as of right now. Just judging by the overall climate online as far as it goes with the leak, I could understand maybe Capcom try and lean into this as they're fixing it, but then as they get it fixed, be like, okay guys, what's coming down the pipeline now. just be excited, type thing.
Yeah, I kind
Because
of am.
I mean, Capcom's one of those companies that you get excited and then it's kind of a letdown. So uh, then they've stayed quiet, quite a bit. It feels like as of late.
Yeah, well, if they're, oh, excuse me, I yawning, man, but yeah, if
I
they're in the
mean,
midst of
we did
trying to
have Resident
patch
Evil
these,
2 and 3, but
mm-hmm.
I mean, it doesn't feel like Capcom tries to make a big thing too often.
It could be more so that they were planning on some of these games to be coming out, like, more frequently than anything, and the pandemic just threw them off too.
Hmm.
That's always a
That could be
possibility.
too.
Yeah. So I guess, we got to look at it kind of from both sides of the coin. I mean, Capcom's obviously got some real work to do on their own side to make sure their stuff can be resecured and they can continue working on development. But at the same time, on the flip side, you've got all the fans now who have at least seen somewhat of a release schedule and now have an idea of what's coming from Capcom. So maybe this will help.
I just feel bad for all the employees that had their
That
information
that
leaked.
by far is
So
the biggest thing, I
that is
think. Yeah.
terrible.
Well, because Capcom's not just a single country company; they're worldwide, so
No.
they're going to have
Yeah.
a lot to work on, especially. So they'll get the hammer thrown on them probably by some government regulatory bodies here soon too for this as well.
Right.
I guess we'll just have to see what comes of their investigation. But with that, we have one more story here, and this is definitely to round out our evening here itself. And this one comes to us from the Washington Post. Here are the nominees for the Game Awards 2020. So I'm just going to go ahead and go through the list here of all the different nominees in the different categories. And of course, we've got our own end of the year review stuff coming up here soon, though, too. So Game Awards, of course, is hosted by Jeff Keighley. He's very well known, of course, through the video gaming world, especially as one of the big pushers for like E3. Definitely worked on a lot of stuff with Gamescom. He founded the Game Awards, though, too. So this is a lot of big stuff for him, especially. And, it's going to be very interesting to see with everything going online, too. Because last year's Game Awards, of course, before we get here to the story, we had the reveal of the Xbox Series X, I think, which was by far one of the biggest things. So I don't know if we're going to get any interesting bombs dropped that way. Hopefully we get some new trailers dropped from some other games, though, too. But it's going to be interesting to see how they top last year's, given, of course, the pandemic and moving everything online. But in their list, of course, for nominees for Game of the Year, they've got Animal Crossing, Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and The Last of Us Part 2. Best Game Direction, they have Final Fantasy VII, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, and The Last of Us Part 2. Best Narrative, they've got 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and The Last of Us Part 2. Best Art Direction, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, and Last of Us Part 2. Best Score and Music, we've got Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII, Hades, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, Last of Us Part 2. God, a lot of repeats here on this. Best Audio Design, Doom Eternal, Half-Life Alyx, Ghost of Tsushima, Resident Evil 3 Remake, and The Last of Us Part 2. Best Performance, we've got Ashley Johnson as Ellie in The Last of Us Part 2, Laura Bailey as Abby in The Last of Us Part 2, Daisuke Tsuji as Jin Sakai in Ghost of Tsushima, Logan Cunningham as Hades in the game Hades, and Naji Jeter as Miles Morales in Spider-Man Miles Morales. Games for Impact, which I believe this category is specific to those indie games that have more of like a profound impact, I guess, on the player and society itself. Like there were games that were nominated last year that were related more to, I guess, society in that, though, as well. I can't really remember 100% on that one. But we got If Found, Kentucky Route Zero TV Edition, Spiritfarer, Tell Me Why, and Through the Darkest of Times. Best Ongoing, so any games that are still in play right now, continuously updated ones. We got Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Call of Duty Warzone, Fortnite, and No Man's Sky. For Best Indie Games, we got Carry On, Fall Guys, Ultimate Knockout, Hades, Spelunky 2, and Spiritfarer. Best mobile games: Among Us, Call of Duty Mobile, Genshin Impact, Legends of Runeterra, and Pokemon Cafe Mix. Best community support: we got Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Fall Guys, Fortnite, No Man's Sky, and Valorant. Innovation and accessibility: Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Grounded, Hyperdot, Last of Us Part 2, and Watch Dogs Legion. Best VR AR: we've got Dreams, Half-Life Alyx, Marvel's Iron Man VR, Star Wars Squadrons, and The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. Best action: Doom Eternal, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, Neo 2, and The Streets of Rage 4. Best action adventure includes Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Ghost of Tsushima, Marvel Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, The Last of Us Part 2. Best RPG, we've got Final Fantasy VII Remake, Genshin Impact, Persona 5 Royal, Wasteland 3, and Yakuza Like a Dragon. Best fighting, we got Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, Mortal Kombat 11, Street Fighter V Champion Edition, One Punch Man, A Hero Nobody Knows, and Under Night in Birth, EXE Late CL. Jesus Christ. Best family games, we got Animal Crossing, Crash Bandicoot 4, Fall Guys, Mario Kart Live, Minecraft Dungeons, and Paper Mario. Best sim and strategy, we got Crusader Kings 3, Desperados 3, Gears Tactics, Microsoft Flight Simulator, and XCOM Chimera Squad. Best sports and racing, we have Dirt 5, F1 2020, FIFA 21, NBA 2K21, and Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2. Best multiplayer is Animal Crossing, Among Us, Call of Duty Warzone, Fall Guys, and Valorant. Best debut game, Carry On, Mortal Shell, Raji and Ancient Epic, Roki, and Phasmophobia. Content Creator of the Year, we've got Elena Pierce with Funhouse, Nick Merckx, Twitch streamer, Tim the Tatman, also Twitch streamer, JN Lopez, and Valkyrie. I don't actually know those last two. Best esports game, we got Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Fortnite, League of Legends, and Valorant. Best esports athlete, we've got Crimsix for Call of Duty, Showmaker for League of Legends, Canyon for League of Legends, Shotzi for Call of Duty, and Zaiwu for CSGO. Best esports team, we got Damwon Gaming for League of Legends, Dallas Empire for Call of Duty League, San Francisco Shock for Overwatch League, G2 Esports for League of Legends, and Team Secret for Dota 2. Best esports event, Blast Premier Spring E2020 European Finals for CSGO, Call of Duty League Championship 2020, IEM Catalyst 2020 for CSGO, League of Legends World Championship 2020, and Overwatch League Grand Finals 2020. And then finally, best esport host, we got I can never pronounce his name. Jocks, I think is what it is. Shocks, I can't remember. Machine, Golden Boy, Dash, and Sheever. Well, I mean, it's a pretty big list of stuff on here.
I'm surprised you read it all.
I wanted to go through all of it. I just wanted to lay it all out, man, to eat up the last of our time here for sure. What I'm curious,
I honestly think Ghost of Tsushima and Animal Crossing are going to run away with a good portion of the show.
I actually think so too. I actually am kind of expecting Among Us to probably win the award for let's see, where was it? Best mobile. I think Among Us will probably end up being the one. It might have some tough competition against Genshin Impact. I think that. I think best VR is probably gonna be Half-Life Alyx.
I think so too.
Best action,
and I think Fall Guys is gonna come out on top of quite a few categories as well. But I do think we might see Valorant come out once or twice here. So
very possible.
I don't know. It'll be a good show.
The one I'm actually,
especially being an interesting year as it's
been. And the one I'm actually kind of expecting to be a big fight here is that I think Fall Guys is probably going to walk away with it, but I kind of hope that the best indie game, I really hope Carry On is the one that ends up getting it. Because I think
Carry On, I really like Carry On, but I think Fall Guys is going to take it away just because of its sense of community. I mean, if it were up to us, it might be Carry On, but I mean, Fall Guys has such a big community and it brings people together. So I see that being such an impactful game. So I do see it coming out on top even in that category, unfortunately. But, I mean, fortunately for them, I mean, I shouldn't talk so negatively. It is a good game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. I got nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
But that was our last story, everybody. So of course, I had to go read off that list. I wanted to eat up the last few minutes of our time anyway. So go us. But yeah, light weekend news. Of course, Capcom got the shit kicked out of it. I guess we'll just have to kind of see what happens here this next week, because next week, of course, we got Thanksgiving. We've also got Black Friday, so we got all the sales going on, and of course the chaos that's going to come in with the hopeful restocking of Xbox Series X and S's and both versions of the PlayStation 5. So everybody needs to be on the lookout to make sure that if you did not secure one, that you go out and get one if you can afford it.
Yeah, I don't know if it
I'll
was true. I had seen an article
just sit here with
about
my
a
Xbox.
rumored Xbox Series X bundle with Cyberpunk. I don't know about that.
I did not hear anything there, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't be opposed to that.
I
That's
don't
actually
know.
kind of cool. I'm okay. I got my Series X sitting right here next to me, which, by the way, playing keyboard mouse in Warzone off of your Xbox Series X is interesting. But I will talk more.
Why?
I will talk more about it in our "What Are You Playing" episode for next week. So, Kyle, you're gonna have to
Fair
stay
enough.
tuned as well. That's how you get them. That's how you
Fair
lure them
enough.
into that. But yeah,
Yo.
so with that, and then of course the fun that is the holiday. I think, Kyle, I have to talk to you and Preston about this, of course, but I think we probably could do the news live stream next Friday. But I think next Saturday we probably will end up taking a break on the podcast recording just because of holiday stuff. Got some internal family things going on, I believe, that won't allow me to step away to record as we normally would. So
Understandable.
yeah, but then of course we got a great topic episode coming up for you guys in the podcast this next week. Of course, spoiler alert there. Of course, I think it's actually going to be a really big fight. I think there's going to be a couple things in this one, especially as we talk about how Mass Effect 3 ties into it, how things like Skyrim, of course, too, is another thing. So hopefully maybe that gives some of it away without actually saying much there. But of course, go listen to our last topic that came out yesterday, which was on top video game cheat codes. I know Preston, of course, absolutely despises my intro, so I guess I did my job very well on that one. So please make sure to go check that out. And of course, yeah, next week's is going to be a fun one. Yeah, I know you do. I'm trying to just spice it up. But yeah, thanks everybody again for tuning into this week's news live stream. If you're following us here on Facebook right now and you're not following the Facebook page, please make sure to go ahead and hit that follow button there, or the like button. I can't remember what it is on Facebook now. If you're watching us on YouTube, please make sure to hit that subscribe button so you know when we go live, when we publish our new videos, all that fun stuff. I'm hoping, as time allows, especially going into this next week with it being a little bit quieter, I can actually sit down and get a review done of the Xbox Series X, because I think it'd be interesting to provide that perspective from someone who didn't get a review copy, who actually had to do the pre-order process and wait for something to come in. So be on the lookout for that, hopefully sometime this next week. But yeah, please make sure to follow us. Check out the podcast, anchor.fm/the-npcs.podcast. We've got the links here on our Facebook page. We got them on our YouTube page as well, though, too. So go check that out. Go follow that podcast. Go listen to us talk more about video games. Again, thanks, everybody, for tuning in to this week's news. We'll catch y'all later.
Bye.